Hey, how about you, everybody? Welcome into the Corner Recruiting Show. I'm your host, Jeffrey Lee, Senior Recruiting Editor for AuburnSports.com. Today is Thursday, December the 11th, 2025 for you. It is Wednesday evening, December the 10th, 2025 for us. Keep that in mind moving forward. If we slip up with any todays, tomorrows, or yesterdays, we are absolutely prone to do it. We probably will before I end the sentence tonight. Hey! We got a fantastic show for you tonight. We're going to wrap up this high school JUCO class, Auburn's 2026 signing class. We're going to look ahead to the transfer portal, which opens January the 2nd. Talk about maybe some needs, maybe some potential targets, some losses, maybe some potential adds. Here to do it with me, as they always are, 100% of the time. When I look up and I see their faces, they're here. Cole Pinkston, Alan Head, how about you, fellas?
How about you?
How about you, everybody? How we doing tonight, man?
Man, I am still under the weather, just fighting it.
Really?
No,
Yeah.
I hear you. I woke up sounding a little bit like Tone Loc this morning, so a little frog in my voice. But maybe, hopefully, Jeffrey won't sing "Funky Cole Medina" before the show's over.
Tone Loc. That's a throwback.
Yeah.
I usually go with Josh Turner.
Josh Turner? That's a good one.
Get the low voice.
I don't know him.
You don't know Josh Turner?
Mm-mm. Who's that?
Country singer.
Oh.
Got the really low voice.
We're switching genres on you, Jeffrey. We're just messing you all kinds of up.
Is that the Tennessee Whiskey Boy?
No, it's Chris Stapleton.
No, that's Chris Stapleton.
Oh. Josh Turner?
He sings Long Black Train. Baby Like a
Long Black Train. Yeah, I remember that song.
Yeah.
I think I've heard it. Actually, I've heard it on TikTok with a different angle on that song.
Wait.
Oh no.
Dude, I don't even want to imagine you on TikTok, bro.
Yeah. I just surf, man. I just surf. All right, fellas. Let's see. We have just saw Auburn complete its 2026 high school JUCO signing class. 18 signees, a couple of additions late. Actually, there was a lot more additions in the days leading up to the early signing period than most folks thought. You added Corey Wells, Chris Wells. You added Tavion Branch, big one there. You added Deshaun Spencer, big one there. Brian Williams flipped in from Alabama. Michael Lundy Foster and DeMarcus Broughton were USF commitments. Reese Brush, quarterback, like him. Mason Mathis was a late addition. DeMonte Tab was a late addition, and I think both of those guys are results of that day. I think it was it Friday when the NCAA extended the scholarship limits from 85 to 105, and man, I'm telling you, wheels were turning when that news hit. Auburn was trying to get a couple of these guys added and did, and I thought both of those guys, DeMonte Tab, Mason Mathis, fantastic 105 guys. But overall, the class is, I think, ranked number 46 as of Wednesday evening. And, we've said it before. We said on the call-in show, I'm punting this class. I'm not crediting it to Alex Golesh. I don't think, even had Hugh Freeze stayed, it would have been much different. I don't know. I don't know what Jace Matthews does. I don't know what Braylon Womack does. Because I really thought.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, Jeffrey.
Well, I thought, DJ Durkin was key for Braylon Womack, and I was wrong there. Didn't matter. Even after DJ was retained, he's, and of all places, Mississippi State.
Yeah, I think there's some ties there to Mississippi State, to some people around their program. And look, give them credit. They did a really good job of recruiting that young man.
Obviously so, man. Yeah.
Sold him on the future. I think Auburn, if Hugh had won, I think he's still in the class.
Yeah.
But Hugh, on the trajectory that he was on, I think he was decommitting. I honestly do. And yes, DJ was key in that because he really liked the system. But I think it went beyond system. And then when you had a head coach change, you don't really have any real relationship with Alex Golesh. You do have a good relationship with Jeff Levy and his staff. Money's probably equal at that point. You're staying home. I get it. It's not, it's a black eye to Auburn, right? Because you don't typically lose recruits to Mississippi State. You can't consider it anything but a loss. But it's not one that I can pin on Alex Golesh.
No.
You pin that on the failure of what was Hugh Freeze's coaching regime. And again, I'm not taking shots at Hugh. It's just he didn't win enough at all.
Sure.
And when you don't win enough, you have no proof of concept to sell, and you're not going to be able to land five-star kids like Braylon Womack. It's just not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. And I thought, the sister being here, but I'll tell you what, the sister being here, I thought it would have been a big deal. Like you said, if things had turned out differently. But I'm telling you, Cole and I, watching Braylon Womack the Sunday after the Iron Bowl, how disengaged he was.
The demeanor was totally different.
It was, let's go. It was, they had no desire to be at Auburn. And it was painfully obvious. He flipped the next day to Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Jace Matthews flips on that Friday to Ole Miss. Another one, like, you think Braylon Womack, if he flips, is going to A&M. He goes to Mississippi State. You think Jace Matthews, if he's flipping, he's going to LSU. But, you heard some, with it DK Moncrief?
DK, yeah.
Dante.
Yeah,
Moncrief.
Dante Moncrief, who's his first cousin.
DK Metcalf is who I'm thinking of.
Is either going to be promoted to wide receiver coach or assistant wide receiver coach. And that was reported by the Ole Miss site there, the Ole Miss Spirit. So give those guys credit for that information. I think Ben Garrett was the first to report that. Or I'm going to give Ben credit. And if it was one of the other guys, my apologies. But some relational ties there. Again, money was all the same. And they have more of a rapport at this point. The offensive staff, anyway, has more of a rapport at Ole Miss than Auburn did. His number one recruiter is Marcus Davis. Marcus's position is up in the air. Nobody really knows what's going to happen there yet.
Still don't. Mm-hmm.
And I would tell you, I don't feel great about Marcus probably staying on staff next year. I think the chances are higher that he goes elsewhere, because why wouldn't he have been announced at this point? And this is all good. I'm not going on any intel here.
Yeah.
I know Marcus was given an offer to stay at Auburn, and maybe that was not exactly to his liking, and he's just kind of sorting through his options. But I think with that being up in the air, Hugh Freeze, who was a big draw for him, and Hugh did a really good job of recruiting Jace. They've been on him for a really long time. Derek Nix, also involved in that recruitment, no longer being at Auburn. Pete did a good job. He did what he had to do. He leveraged the relationship with the cousin, and they came up with a similar resources that Auburn was willing to give. And when you make all that equal, I think it just made sense for him to go to Ole Miss at this point.
And I believe the resources that Auburn was willing to give Jace Matthews were really high under Hugh Freeze, because that's the value he put in the receiver room. And I think what happened with Jace Matthews, I mean, give Ole Miss credit, give Pete Golden credit. I'm not trying to take that away at all. But it kind of tracks with what I thought and what we talked about, maybe Golesh and his view on allocating NIL would be. Whereas, like, there's a lot of equity in that receiver room. Like, is it going to work that way with him? Yeah, I just didn't. We talked about it, right? How's it going to work exactly? Is it going to be the same allocated resources there? Same percentage? Probably not.
No, and to be honest, I felt like it was a little uneven in that room. It felt like it was weighted more heavily than maybe rooms where Alex Golesh is going to utilize a different strategy. And maybe that spread more across the offensive line. Maybe that spread more in the running back room. I think contingent on the type of system that you plan to run and how you value pieces within that system, it's going to drive where your resource allocation goes. So it may have been one of those situations where it works out for everybody. Now, that's not to say that Jace isn't a phenomenal player. He is. We have to acknowledge that. But I think it's also fair to say the young man's coming off an ACL tear, probably not going to play in year one, and putting that kind of money in a player that you're not going to really be able to use in year one in the first year of a rebuild, is that really smart? Where you could potentially use that money in the transfer portal for an instant impact guy to flip things around on the field immediately.
Yeah, I think a better record is expected too. And if that's the case, is that the big investment you want to make right now? Right.
Yeah. I mean, look, for a long play and upside.
Oh yeah.
There are not many receivers in this
elite
class that are better than Jace Matthews. But for next season, Yeah, he's elite, no doubt. But the injury, everything involved, your need to turn it around on the field next year, I think this could work out for all parties involved, and I hope it does work out for Jace. I'm rooting for it.
Yeah, looking at some of the additions, I can't. I don't think Auburn lost anybody else that they were trying to hang on to. And actually, Jace Matthews was the only one they didn't win out on. If you look back, I mean, Auburn hit some home runs this past week leading up into this. I mean, with both Wells brothers, with Tavian Branch, those three were huge, man. Flipping from Corey Wells from Texas, getting Tavian Branch from Va Tech, Penn State. I thought that was a big win. That
Ole
came
Miss
after
was also involved in
Ole
that one.
Miss. Came after the announcement that Vontrell King Williams would be retained. The timing on that couldn't have worked out any better because, man, we were all in kind of limbo. Like, it's tough to do when you don't know who's pulling the strings now. And that was kind of the case with Jace Matthews. Is that it was like, well, who's recruiting this guy? Like Derek Nix is not here, Kenyatta's
Right.
not here, Marcus Davis is. We don't know. So who's recruiting this kid?
Yeah,
that was kind of the caveat of it. Like we knew once, and even Vontrell, when his status was in limbo, he was still recruiting. He was because he was still employed at Auburn. So it was good when he was retained, and I think that made a huge difference. But you look at the other ads besides the defensive line and Reese Brush, the USF guys, and we've talked about this before, but we probably want to reiterate it, man. Even though these guys aren't heavy on the star power, there was no 4-star guys that they flipped. I mean, you got 3-star Brian Williams, you got Deshaun Spencer 3-star. Most of these guys are on the bottom half of Auburn's commit list, but you're getting guys that you're very familiar with. You've been recruiting them for more than a year. You know them, you know their parents, you know what kind of character they have, you know what kind of work ethic they have. And I've said this class right here is the only class as far as giving these guys a pass to bring in USF quality players. I'm sorry, you're just not going to win in the SEC with half your class beating out USF for it. You're just not. We've seen this movie before. It doesn't work out well.
right.
And so that's why I'm saying I'm not. I'm an advocate for Alex Golesh and what he did with these ads. I'm absolutely for it. I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great strategy. But this is the last and only year that I want to see Auburn beating Cincinnati and USF for almost half the class.
No, and I agree with you. Now, the one player that they snagged late that they were competing against other Power 5 schools, DeMonte Tab, I think they beat
Love
out
him.
West Virginia. And was Cincinnati the other one involved in that?
Pitt, Cincinnati, something like that.
It was Pitt and West Virginia. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Pitt and West Virginia were the
And
other
USF.
two.
He was actually in Tampa when Golesh got hired at Auburn. He was on an OV to USF. Did we say that? I was looking it up.
We did. No, we didn't say that.
Okay.
So, but I think he's a P5 guy all the way. This isn't one of those that you're trying to project on. Like when I watch him, he's a P4 guy. Now, he's a late bloomer and he's not somebody that everybody's real familiar with, but I think On3 finally rated him as an 88 or an 89. They were relatively high on him as a 3-star.
88.
So,
well, it's like you watch him and you're like, well, I can't quite figure out the downside.
Right.
What's the risk exactly? I mean, speed maybe, but
yeah,
it looks like it checks out pretty well. I mean,
dude, he had 11 interceptions as a first-year starter at Thompson.
Yeah,
he's a first-year starter at Thompson, which won the 7A state championship. Had 11 interceptions. That's almost one per game.
That's more than
the
turnover machine of Anquan Fagans.
Right.
Yeah. And has only played 2 years of high school football. He was a basketball player through his sophomore year. Only started playing football and played wide receiver predominantly as a junior. So
to be a new football player, that dude loves to hit.
Yeah. As a ceiling take, I really liked that ad.
Mm-hmm.
Now, probably the one that I liked the most on signing day period, and it's one that we've already discussed, but it's Tavion Branch. Not Tavion Branch, excuse me. Is it
Yeah, Tavion Branch.
Excuse
The
me,
defensive
Tavion
tackle?
Branch. Yes, Tavion Branch. I love his tape. I
I
think
do.
that kid is going to be really, really good. I was even more impressed to hear Cole's report on his frame, size, the build, because if he passes Cole's eye test, combined with what you see on his huddle cut-ups, I think Auburn got something. And I want you guys to talk about this because I don't see it in action the way you do. I just see the results that he generates on the field and what I hear. But talk about how how Von Trail has really developed as a recruit because you guys see it in person. And I think he's really starting to stamp his name and has a chance in this 27 class to take off and be one of the elite recruiters.
Yeah, because he's got a lot of them in the backyard that he can make some money off of for sure. The guy that's kind of flying under the radar in this class is Brian Williams, and he's a flip from Bama, which is those don't usually fly under the radar. Flips from Bama have been good for Auburn. You go back to Robert Woodyard, who, it was kind of like a known thing he was going to flip the whole time, even though he kept it quiet. It was like, Bama's not really going to push for him. Auburn's going to get him. Boys, he turned out to be a good player, and he stuck with it. Brian Williams is a guy that Auburn liked back in the spring, had him on campus, had a high value on him as a player, and then he ends up committing to Alabama. He had Florida. Florida was also in his top schools. Like, this is a guy that was a definite SEC player, flips from Bama to Auburn on signing day because he loves Golesh's system. That seems to be what the big deal was for him. He was looking at USF, actually, pretty strongly too. So,
Yeah.
I love Brian Williams.
Now, to be balanced on that, the Alabama side, I think it was Watts commented that Brian Williams and Alabama were parting ways.
I figured that was the case.
Right. I think it is a very similar situation to the one that you just talked about, Cole. But Robert Woodyard again has had a really good year at Auburn, primed to have a big senior season at Auburn. So sometimes I don't really care if Alabama was going to take him or not. That doesn't matter to me. As Pat Dye used to say, it's not about the players you don't land. It's about the ones that you do, and can they play? Can they help you? And I think Brian Williams can help Auburn in the wide receiver.
Going back to Von Trail, I saw a lot of this in the Tavion Branch recruitment. And if you'll remember, Tavion Branch committed to Auburn on early signing day. On that Wednesday, we had to cut the show, and he committed about an hour and a half later.
Yeah.
And we went to bed that night, and he had not signed. They had not released his signing. And, I was checking that night and again early I think it was that night. And, everything was a go. He was working. I think he was working out some NIL stuff. It was really nothing. There was nothing to be concerned about. And he was very transparent with some folks behind the scenes as well. But when they did announce his signing, if you'll notice, Vontrell King Williams was like, "Took you long enough?" Vontrell's very genuine. I just use the word transparent in describing Tavion Branch, the way he went about that signing day. But Vontrell's the same way. And when you get to see these kids leaving visits, especially defensive linemen, and Vontrell walks them out, and you get to see how he interacts with them, and mom, and little sister, and little brother, and grandma. It's you can easily see why he has the success that he has. He's a good dude, and he's a genuinely good dude, and he's a fantastic freaking coach.
Yeah,
he's awesome. He's awesome. At Tuesday practices, I just had to start doing a quote book for Von Trail. Like, you're just gonna have to hear his quotes. I'm gonna have to type them out every day.
Yeah,
you need to read this.
And as Cole said, he's got a fantastic opportunity with this 2027 class because he's retained. Number one, he's got a new contract, and he's got a plethora, wherever you're from,
yes,
of top defensive line recruits, not only in this area, but in the state, in the Southeast. So he's about to eat, or he has the opportunity to really.
He does.
You got Donovan Moore, Carlos May. Those are just two of the top guys in the state of Alabama. Who are some other ones, Cole?
Elijah Brown.
Brown. from
That's a
Prattville.
big one for Auburn.
From Prattville, yeah. The 26 D-line in-state class was not great for Von Terrell, really. You had Vodney Cleveland, who was a bigger target early on, and then he wasn't.
And you had the kid from Hoover or somewhere.
Yeah, Tyson Bacon.
And then there was another kid that Auburn looked at late. He came up to the Kentucky game or something. Remember this kid from
Caleb Morris?
No, yeah, I'm trying to think of this other kid. I got his picture on my. I never wrote a story about him.
The kid that signed with Ohio State.
Oh,
Cameron McGee.
Cameron McGee. He was
no,
from
no,
Grayson.
McGee. I'm sorry.
Okay, my bad. Cameron McGee. Yeah, so yeah, it wasn't a great defensive line class, not at least in Auburn's recruiting footprint. And
no.
So this year he's got a chance to really add some big dogs, kind of similar to the way edge recruiting was a year ago at this time. Remember how exciting edge recruiting was last year? Oh man, this 2026 class is loaded, and Auburn's in on all 5 of these guys, and then you don't sign one. And listen, I don't know that Auburn signs one if Rock Bellantoni had stayed. I really don't. We heard some rumblings late about Tank Jones, and I never saw that happening. I never saw who else was it? You might have gotten. No, I don't think you get Jordan Carter either. I really don't think Auburn would have signed anybody else any differently.
They made a late run at Trenton Henderson.
They almost signed Trenton Henderson because nobody else wanted him. You remember Blake Baker at LSU was going to take the Tulane job.
Yes.
Right? Wasn't that right?
That's correct.
Well, LSU didn't want Trenton Henderson. And that's why he was calling Auburn. That's why he was calling Florida State. That's why he was calling Miami. Miami didn't want him. Florida State was like, I didn't know what's going on with his. Blake Baker comes back and says, what are y'all doing? Of course we'll take him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went back to LSU. That's what happened with Trenton Henderson. That's why Chad Simmons was throwing out the Auburn bus. Yeah. Because they almost signed him by default. He almost fell in their lap because they might have been the only ones ready to take him at the time.
And I will say this. I think Wilkes is going to be an edge, so maybe they landed one, even though they're saying he's going to play inside linebacker. This is one just like J.J. Falk. I just can't see him playing inside linebacker long-term at Auburn. I think he projects better outside eventually because of the way his body's going to grow and develop. I know they like him inside. That was a DJ take as an inside linebacker. But I just think it's a situation where he's going to grow into an edge. And that's softened somewhat by being able to sign some of the other linebackers you signed in that class. I mean, landing Tootle.
That was big.
It really is. I mean, getting him to flip, and I felt like his senior tape was improved. He was better. And with him and Wilkes both being Mike linebackers, that definitely softens that if you do move Wilkes outside.
Yeah.
How do y'all feel about Reese Brush?
Reese Brush, man, I've come around on him a little bit, mostly because I think he's developmental. Let me be clear about that.
Yeah.
Like, obviously he knows he's not coming in to be the starter.
Right.
Which most quarterbacks don't anyway. I mean, even Deuce Knight, who was a 5-star, knew that. But when you really look at the quarterback room, and again, you divvy it out, you put the percentage numbers on it, the money, right? We've heard, I think Golesh has commented kind of on the quarterback room, and he kind of wants to keep it together, doesn't want to blow it up, I think was the quote.
Mm-hmm.
Reese Brush is perfect for that. If you're adding him into a room that you want to keep together, like we know Jackson Arnold's gone, but Ashton Daniels and Deuce Knight, then you throw in Reese Brush, perfect if you're trying to retain that quarterback room, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I kind of like the skill set, Cole. I agree he's a gamer, but he's got some Sean White to him. You know what I mean? He's a better athlete than Hank Brown. I think more athletic, throws a different kind of ball, very accurate. And what I saw with him is he was not scared. And you see this with high school quarterbacks a lot. They throw where they're comfortable, and it's typically down the sideline and away outside the middle of the field. Reese Brush attacks the middle of the field when he throws the football and throws with really good anticipation. So that part I'm excited about. But again, don't expect this kid to walk in here and be the starting quarterback next year at Auburn. That's not going to happen. He's a guy that you pay almost zero money to outside of a scholarship, and you let him develop for the next 2 to 3 years, and then you see what you have. And guys like him, you see them play at places in college where they end up being better players. Look at John Mateer. John Mateer was a 3-star nobody out of a small town. I think it's Elm, Texas, is where he's from, and went and developed, and now he's one of the better quarterbacks in the SEC. And I'm not in any way, shape, form, or fashion comparing Reese Brush to him. I'm just saying don't look at his star rating and think it's necessarily indicative of what the kid could be given his development.
And I talked to someone who saw him perform at the Elite 11 series camp in Tampa with quarterbacks like Bo Bentley, Will Griffin, those kind of guys. From what I understand, this guy was in the same ballpark as those guys from an evaluator that was there.
Okay.
As far as arm talent.
Hey, look, I'll take it.
Sure.
Let's see. Before we go any further, I want to thank our sponsor for the show, Brunt Work Boots. Workwear. Love me some Brunt. Y'all know how much we love Brunt. Brunt was tired of the workwear brands out here cutting corners. You work too hard to be stuck in uncomfortable boots that don't hold up, so they built something better. Boots that are insanely comfortable and built for any job site. I got the Marin. I've been putting some work on it too, big dog. It's a good boot, real comfortable, man. They come ready to wear, and then they just get better and better and better the more you do it. Most comfortable work boots I've ever worn. Felt comfortable right out of the box. No long, painful breaking like all those other brands. They're not just comfortable. They're built to perform. Whether you need waterproof, safety toe, soft toe, pull on, or lace up, they got options that can handle whatever job site you walking into, son. Oh, for a limited time, listeners get 10 off at Brunt when you use the promo code War Eagle at checkout. Just head to bruntworkwear.com, use the promo code War Eagle, and you're good to go. And after you order, they'll ask, where you heard about Brunt? Where did you hear about us, man? Do us a favor and tell them it was we sent you. Bruntworkwear.com, promo code War Eagle, get you $10 off. You will not be disappointed. I promise you. Let's look ahead, fellas. January the 2nd, the transfer portal opens. We've seen Auburn, several players from Auburn announce their intentions to enter the portal. Perry Thompson, was there a second wide receiver?
Yeah, Horatio Fields.
We've seen Jackson Arnold's name. We've seen Rashawn Pleasant. Oh, I'm sorry, Rayon Strader.
Yep, Rayon Strader. Yes. Amon Lane Gaines. Antonio Coleman. Nobody really big, man. You know what I mean? Like, except for I'm talking about two deep guys. Yes. You're losing Rayon Strader. He was a two deep guy. Perry Thompson was a two deep guy. I really thought Perry Thompson was going to come out next year. I thought he was trending in the right direction, but I don't blame him. I don't blame any of these guys doing whatever the hell they want to do. So looking ahead. So anyways, you signed 2 high school wide receivers. You've lost 2 depth piece wide receivers. Actually, no, Horatio was a starter. Perry was too deep. Yeah, so they were both the same position, which was sort of your physical guy, big body physical guy who could win against man coverage. So it's interesting that those 2 guys were the first to go.
So as far as numbers go, you don't think I'm not expecting the 2 high school guys to count towards the 2, guys who would have been a junior and senior, 2 deep guys, a starter and a second string. So now you're looking at, you want to replace those 2 outgoing transfers with 2 experienced transfers. We've mentioned multiple times to keep an eye on USF guys. Like we talked about getting these USF recruits in. Well, you're going to want to do the same in the transfer portal. And who was it? Singleton and Jonathan Coger.
Yeah.
Those are just 2 guys that really excelled in that offense last year, and we would not be surprised if they were to enter and Auburn were to move on.
Right. Like, haven't heard that just yet, but no. You're right.
I mean, I'm personally looking at all the receivers that they got because I think that's a big deal for Golesh, and I think those are the guys that really believe in this system. Christian Neptune was a freshman that he had was really good.
Yeah, he's another guy.
Chaz Nimrod is a guy that followed Cody Burns. And so Cody Burns was actually the primary recruiter, and Alex Golesh was the secondary recruiter for Chaz Nimrod at Tennessee.
Mm.
And then
does Chaz have another year? I thought he was a senior this year for some reason.
I want to say he has another year, but maybe you're right. You may be right.
Well, I think those two guys, Koger and Singleton, along with the freshman, who was the freshman, Nimrod, or was that Neptune? Neptune. Okay, Neptune and Singleton, and who was the other one? Koger.
Yeah.
Those three guys I'm going to be keeping a close eye on at the wide receiver position. And if nobody else leaves from Auburn, which, I mean, Auburn's doing everything they can to keep Cam Coleman, no doubt about it. He's a high priority for Auburn. I think they're going to do everything they can to keep Malcolm. Whether they keep either of them remains to be seen. I'm going off of Auburn's effort to keep both of those guys. They're going to absolutely make those kids say, no, I'm out. Not, oh, I'm getting money over here. I'm getting money over there. That's not, now I will say this. We talked about this on the Collins show a little bit, Alan, with you.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about Auburn overspending in the past, not necessarily on Cam Coleman or whoever. I'm just saying, and listen, going back to the high school recruiting, I know that this staff came in and looked at what the former staff was willing to pay Peyton Falzone, and they were like, no.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Like, there's just going to be a totally different take on a lot of the NIL portion. Right.
Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be much more balanced, like both of y'all said. I don't think I think the days of overspending, which the number I was hearing for Peyton Falzone was overspending for him. There was no use in that. He had nowhere else to go. You had him,
No, he ended up going to Penn State.
Back to Penn State with no coach.
Had no head coach at the time. Now, look, he got very fortunate because Matt Campbell is a hell of a football coach.
Absolutely.
And so he'll be more than fine there. But at the time, that was a real gamble by him.
Mm-hmm.
And I guarantee you there was no NIL money on the table when he signed that deal.
Well,
so I'm sorry, Cole.
Go ahead. What I've learned in this generation, right, is that guys, there's a reputation out there to other recruits on what Auburn or a school will spend on your position. Okay, so I think the previous staff looked at certain positions and they just went, that's a prereq. We're going to pay that position this amount of money. So when they go back and tell their buddies, hey, Auburn pays this for quarterbacks. Auburn pays this for receivers. I heard a lot about that. So that's all going to change now.
So looking at the transfer portal, and we were talking about Cam Coleman and the NIL. That's how the NIL got brought up. So my bad. We went off in a totally different direction. But we've talked about the needs on offense. We'll just rehash them. We think at least I'm with y'all. I think I said 2, but I'm ready to say at least 3 wide receivers.
Yeah, and I think we're basing these numbers still against the 85 because we haven't adjusted our thinking yet to the 105.
Oh, very, very well said. Yes.
That could change things. Now, Auburn does have some walk-ons that I think they may consider giving scholarships to, just because they're not.
Well, I bet they were happy to hear that news, wasn't they?
Oh, don't you know? Now, that may cut their NIL paycheck a little bit, contingent on what they were getting, if they were getting any money at all, to help offset their scholarship. So it may be just kind of a tit for tat.
Sure.
But it could expand the board, and they take other guys from the transfer portal that we're not anticipating right now. But off of what we had previously thought when the 85-man rule was there, yes, I think 3 wide receivers, because I think you're going to have that much attrition in the room. You've already lost 2. I feel pretty solid you're going to lose at least another one before we get to the end of the transfer portal. And Auburn would want to supplement all 3 of those spots with a transfer portal guy.
Made me think of Dylan Gentry. Old Cuz had 2 receptions for 13 yards this year.
Good for him.
As a redshirt freshman?
Yes.
Yeah.
At Jack State. Good for old Dylan. No DG.
Very good. Very good.
Good for him. Loved Dylan Gentry. So knowing that, Alan, Are you still at 3 wide receivers?
Right now, I am. Right now, I'm still at 3. I think running back, probably 2.
Yeah.
Tight ends, 2 to 3. Offensive line, 3. Cole, would you think more than that, or you think 3's the number?
3 to 4. I mean, because you're gonna have to find a couple starters at least.
Yeah.
At least
Now
2.
I know they're trying to figure out with X what they're going to do, right? I think that's still they're trying to hammer through that. And
Yeah.
then do you have a right tackle on the roster that you trust? Probably not.
Yeah.
And then
It's a right tackle and maybe right guard. Are those the 2 spots you're looking for a starter? Probably.
yeah, you feel good about Connor Liu coming back next year. I think at this point, though nothing's a given. He is coming off of an ACL tear, so that's something to consider. But you've got some young talent there. But at a minimum, you're looking at probably bringing 2 guys in that can compete at your 2 inside guard positions. Now you love the young pieces, Keandre Jones, Ty Buster. Both of those guys have the potential to start for you next year.
Oh, yeah.
But you
DeAndre Carter.
probably, yeah, DeAndre Carter could. I think he's also a kid that could end up in the transfer portal. I'm being honest with you. I think he was very tied to the previous staff. Now, everything I hear is he really likes Auburn.
Yeah.
But what if they come in and they say, we're paying DeAndre Carter what exactly?
Sure. That's
You know what I mean?
that's the part of it where it gets interesting with everyone.
Isn't he from far away?
He's
California.
From California, modern day.
So, right, that's one to me where I think it gets interesting with him. So, but probably 2 guards, potentially a tackle. So there's your 3 spots right there. And then maybe another swing offensive lineman to give you some versatility next season.
And I tell you what, man, before we move on to defense, we skipped right over quarterback. But I thought Cole reposted something on Wednesday that was very interesting about Byram Brown, which is what, Cole?
One of the strangest things I've ever seen in college football, I think, to this point. I mean, you say that tomorrow, something.
Yeah, right.
Was it the AD that came out about Brett McMurphy for On 3 reported it, but the AD, I believe, for USF or somebody high ranking came out and said Byram Brown's not going to play in the game. The backup quarterback be ready to go. We've asked Byram Brown to be the coach, a coach on the
assistant
sideline.
coach.
And
did you see this, Alan?
I did.
I don't.
So why do you think he's not playing?
2 reasons. One, he's already let them know that he's not going to be returning next year.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to get injured in the bowl game.
Yeah.
Which I get because at this point, I mean, I like kids that want to compete. Don't get me wrong. But I also understand this is a multi-million-dollar decision for him. Whether he turns pro and goes to the NFL or whether he gets an NIL deal from a Power 4 school that's going to pay him more money than he's probably ever seen in his life.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand that piece of it. Now, Cole, I will raise you the situation. Like, that's weird. But Zach Arnett, once being the head coach at Mississippi State and now going back as defensive coordinator, might be stranger.
Well, I mean,
can you imagine Chiswick coming back as DC?
Hell no.
You also
think he'd bring that leather jacket with him?
In the same day, which is as we're recording this, is the Sharon Moore news.
Yeah,
you got that. How about Brent Pry being hired back at Virginia Tech?
Same year. So at least Arnett had like a 2-year break there, right?
Crazy.
Pry got fired in September. He's going to come back.
The funniest thing I saw,
DC.
Somebody said this is Brent Pry, and it was George Costanza on Seinfeld. Remember when he got fired, he just came back in and was like, "Hey, hey, how you doing, huh?"
Yeah,
like he didn't get fired. Defensively, looking at similar numbers along the front.
I don't think so. I think probably 2 defensive tackles. Now, edge is one where you're going to have to load up, I think.
You got to get at least 2 of those.
I think 2 defensive tackles and 2 edges, right?
And I wrote in our roster tracker, and I think it's something to watch personally. I've heard from a few sources now that Amaris Williams has considered it. I mean, he considered it last year. He entered the portal last year. I still think he's considering it. So if you lose him,
Yeah, that hurts.
You're in rough. I mean, you're getting into rough territory now. You just hired Coleman. What's his last name?
Hutzler.
Coleman Hutzler, who is highly regarded as a recruiter, has done some good things. Haven't really looked at his top recruits yet. I'm going to do that, but I know he's had some good ones. He's had a good career as far as that goes. Coming from Mississippi State, where he's the defensive coordinator, that's going to be interesting. You see Tony Mitchell enter the portal. Keep an eye on him. That would make 4 Thompson safeties.
Oh, wow.
Did Tony have a good year this year? I didn't think he played there.
He was kind of a reserve. He played a little bit. I looked up his stuff the other day. He had like 12 tackles.
Yeah, I didn't see much production for him. My guess is he's headed for a lower level. I don't think he's coming off.
Jack State.
Something of that ilk, right?
That would make sense. I think he was playing more of a nickel role.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, hold on. He had he looks like he played in almost every game. He had 25 tackles.
He played 374 snaps for
4
Mississippi.
tackles for loss.
Maybe I'm wrong. And Auburn needs a safety. Okay.
I think he was more in the box role for Mississippi State. Now, I haven't really watched it, but just looking at his numbers on PFF,
Yeah.
it looks like he was probably playing more run support than anything.
He had 6 tackles against Georgia. That was the season high.
Okay.
3 solos.
Well, again, you got to remember,
2 tackles for loss. He had a damn game against Georgia.
this is a 105 scholarship limit now.
Yep.
Don't forget that part.
Yeah. I can't imagine Tony Mitchell coming for just a scholarship, though.
Oh, you may be right.
Okay, so I've got okay, go ahead. Let's finish off with linebackers and DBs. Numbers.
I think linebackers, none. I'm going to go 0 at that position right now.
See, I feel that way about corner if you can keep everybody, but how realistic is that?
Not.
I mean,
you're
losing Strader, so that's one.
Yes.
But
yeah,
if you can retain Jay Crawford, Kayan Lee,
Pleasant, Donovan Starr, Blake Woodby, depending on how they're coming along.
I think you go get one.
Okay.
I'm going to say one corner.
We'll put one.
You look for a young one. Maybe there's a young one on USF's roster that they really like and thinks has potential. And this is the really good thing about the staff. And I was going to talk about this earlier, but when I was looking at their decommit list this past year, at different points, this staff had 12 guys that all ended up signing with Power 4 schools this past year.
Wow.
So they've done a really good job regionally of getting in on guys early. And we saw this with DJ Durkin last year, being able to pluck a young linebacker out of the portal. So they may have contacts with kids that are thinking about getting into the portal that we're unaware of at this point, that might be interested in coming back a little bit closer to home, or that they can lure to come to Auburn, just because they're not happy with their spot after their freshman season. So watch for that too. But I think a young corner makes a lot of sense in that room, even if you can retain everybody and keep them happy.
Do you go get a safety?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
maybe
you have
to.
Really?
I was not overly high on the safety play in the back end.
Okay.
I liked Eric Winters this past year. I thought he did a really good job and as an emerging player in the back end. I didn't really love what I saw from anybody else. I just didn't. I felt like they gave up some plays this year. Now, they had some injuries, right? The junior college kid.
Champ.
He was probably your best free safety, in my opinion, this past season. I thought he gave you plus snaps, but him not being able to stay healthy hurt you.
Yeah.
New boy got better as the year went on, but I felt like there were some real rough spots for him this past season.
I agree.
And so I didn't see as much from him as I thought I would. I also think in the nickel spot, you can continue to upgrade there as well. Like, I love Sylvester, but I think he's limited in coverage, and you need a nickel that can cover.
You got Kinsley,
You
Falston.
got Kinsley, but remember you had Braylon Womack come in that was probably going to play that spot for you.
Mm.
So you got to build out some more depth there.
Do you look at special teams? Do you go out and try to get a kicker and or a punter?
Punter, yes. Got to get a punter. Kicker probably depends on what Alex does. And I think the kid from Southern Miss has another year too.
He does, and then Towns Magoo. Is he going to enter? He might.
I think he's shopping.
Anytime you put your practice highlights and warm up highlights on Twitter, that's a pretty good indication. Like Barry did it. It's like I get it.
I saw Alvin Henderson do that the other day.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I think he's gone.
You got the Elba connection there, Alan.
This isn't me speaking to Elba. This is my gut. I don't think.
So I think at 105, I almost like I bet Auburn's kind of like going, damn, we could have given Hayden Chambers that scholarship after all.
Do you think they were operating as if it was going to happen? I mean, they didn't know, did they?
No, they didn't know. Because and here's why we know that, Cole, is the scrambling that went on Friday.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, hey, hold on, don't do that. Don't sign with anybody until we know for sure what's going to happen.
And DeMonte Tab, I had made a post on him maybe a week or so before Golesh was hired. I mean, they were already looking at him. I wonder if they had like a list of guys just in case. You know what I mean?
Oh, they were.
Yeah.
You know that they were. And this is where I also want to give them a little bit of a break. This was a staff that was in transition where basically you were leveraging the pre-existing staff through signing day to help you make initial connections. But how much information was passed with regard to what they knew about the transition to the 105? These guys are coming from a completely different team. And so there's just a lot of confusion there and a lot of different things that are going on all at one time. So it's hard to anticipate some of that. But I'm with you, Jeffrey. If they knew that for a fact, yeah, I think there's some other guys in USF signing class. They would have said, hey, just hold off one more day. Because there were some kids that were talented that signed with other teams where they lost commitments on signing day that went to other Power 4 schools.
So I'm going to put down a kicker. I'm going to put down a punter. I've got one cornerback. This is kind of almost like at least, right?
Yeah.
These are at least numbers. What's edge? 2 edges, 0 linebackers, 2 safeties, a quarterback, 3 O linemen, 2 D linemen, 1 running back or 2?
2.
Okay.
2 in my opinion.
2 tight ends, 3 wide receivers. That totals 20 transfers.
That makes sense. And I would,
and that's about what I'm expecting.
I think it's going to go over that, and because we're going minimum here.
I think somebody asked me. I said probably about that's minimum numbers there.
I put possible potential 18 to 20 just to play it safe.
I think that's fair.
I think it's going to go over 20 though.
Well, now are you thinking, gosh, are you going to get a transfer to fill out those 105 spots?
Yeah.
Maybe. I think there's some of those walk-ons are going to get those spots. I honestly do.
I don't think you're going to pay a lot of money for those spots, and obviously transfers are going to cost you some money. I'm curious to see how they handle that.
I don't think you're going to take them just to fill your number, but I think you'll take a few to go, all right, let's get some insurance in this room. We got the capacity to add another young guy that could be developmental from the portal. I think they'll probably approach it that way with maybe 3 or 4 players.
Yeah, I could see that. And even going back to what Alex Golesh said was in the portal, we're going to get some younger players that we have had relationships with in the past that maybe we didn't sign out of high school, but we had good relationships with those guys to kind of fill out the roster to shore up that layered depth that Alan likes to talk about.
You know what I like about Golesh and what he's been saying is I've done a lot of, digging on his podcasts and all the things he's done as a head coach, just speaking. He is everything he's saying now, he's been saying for years, the way that he wants to do it. I don't think he's changing his approach at all going to Auburn. Now, what I do think, I think he will maybe raise the ceiling of the talent level he goes after because he knows they're capable of getting it now at Auburn, whereas USF, like you got to kind of be careful with that. You don't want to get stuck with, losing out on those guys.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool, man. I think it's really cool that he's been that straight across the line with everything he said. I mean, he made the statement on one show. It's not always about the hits; it's about not having misses. I thought that was interesting. So it's more about the floor than the ceiling sometimes.
Don't
No, I
judge
agree.
me on my winners. Judge me on my losers because there are so few. Watched The
There
Wolf of
you
Wall
go.
Street the other day.
No, and it's true, man. Because again, you're gonna miss out on kids. This is recruiting. But can the ones you take, do they hit? Can they play at your level? That's the important part. And Jeffrey, you hit a point that I thought was perfect, and we can probably wrap it here. But when he said, kids are going to get in the portal that we have pre-existing relationships with, I thought, okay, pre-portal is in full tilt right now, right?
Yeah.
Tampering portal is at an all-time high, and that's
It's
not
tampering
just at
season.
Auburn. It is 100% tampering season. Like, hey, are you thinking about getting in the portal? And if you are, what are you looking for?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And we know this conversation technically can't be had with the young man. But if they recruited him, they know who the agent is, they know who the coach is, they know who the parent is.
Yeah, that's compliance is a thing of the past.
Dude, Rich McGlynn would literally just want to off himself in today's
He got
world,
out of the
man.
compliance business at the right time.
He really did, dude. He really did, because I couldn't imagine him trying to navigate this right now.
All right, let's get to some how about yous, and then we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna be back the week of January the 6th. I think we're gonna have the call-in show on the 6th, then maybe we'll have the recruiting show return on the 7th or 8th, because we're gonna have a lot of transfer portal news to talk about in those first 4 or 5 days. I've got 3 how about yous, fellas. Does anybody want to get in on the how about you game?
Yeah,
I got just one.
Okay.
Go ahead, Alan.
Crocodile 22.
Crocodile.
Yeah. I thought he's done a good job on the board of late. He's been very active with
All
some
right.
of with some of his projections on potentially like Twitter follows, and he's starting up his transfer portal thread that he does, his mega thread that he does every year. So
Okay.
it's always fun to see, some of the engagement in those threads that he generates.
How about you, Crocky Poo?
Yeah.
Go Pinkston? Let me I'll run off mine then. I'll give you a minute or two. How about you to S Rainey 13 for some of the memes that he produced? He even made one for me, man. He made one.
I saw it.
Yeah,
I saw it.
Was that the sneezing one?
No, I think he did that one too. But he had some chick. Yeah.
Yes. We will talk about that one on the post show. Yeah.
Tiger Proud. How about you, Tiger Proud 10? He had some good stuff throughout the recruiting. He had some good intel, man. He had intel that was lining up. I appreciated his insight.
Yeah.
And anti-socialites. I don't remember what he did.
He's been good.
Okay.
He's an intel guy.
Okay, good. I wrote him down. I might have coupled them together. Tiger Prowl 10, anti-socialites, and then S Rainey 13 for his meme production.
I love a good meme game.
Yeah.
Or gift game.
Yeah.
Which is one of my how about yous. I've been meaning to give him one. I think I maybe did, but I'm gonna do it again. Horace from 3.
Oh yeah, one of my favorites.
Good one.
He does this like anytime that we post good news or something that's good, he posts the same GIF every time, and it owns me. It's from an SNL skit with Dana Carvey where he's singing the Chopping Broccoli song.
Yeah,
and
Chopping Broccoli.
Phil Hartman is the recording studio guy sitting there listening to it going, yeah. Oh, it gets me every time. I love it. So he's one of mine, Horace from 3. Did you get all yours, Jeffrey? Did I?
Yes, sir. I did. No, you good.
And then I got 3 voices of reason.
Okay.
Jeremy Redding.
Yeah.
Good one.
I'm gonna do ×2 on him.
Yeah, he's always good, man. Been a voice of reason lately. Amen, Pastor. Amen,
That's Hughes' burner account.
Yeah. And K. Dot 77.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one.
Voices of Reason. They just stood out in the crowd this week.
Fantastic. How about you, S. Rainey, Tiger Proud, Anti-Socialites, Crocky Poo, Horse from 3, Jeremy Redding, ×2, Amen, Pastor, K. Dot 77. All right, folks, that's going to wrap up this recruiting season. We're going to be back January the 7th or 8th. We'll pick one of those days to record, and we'll have the recruiting show out the next morning. Y'all be tuned in for that. I hope everybody has a fantastic holiday season, a safe holiday season, and get to spend some time with your family. Hope you have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and stay tuned to auburnsports.com as Auburn continues to fill out the staff. And we follow along with everything that's going on. There's going to be more attrition. We're going to see who plans to enter the portal, not just from Auburn, but from elsewhere. We'll see any interesting names. We'll keep a tab on those guys as well. Don't forget to go to bruntworkwear.com, get you $10 off using the promo code War Eagle. Tell them we sent you. And Merry Christmas, everybody. Appreciate everybody listening. Appreciate everybody watching us. For Cole, for Alan, for Zach in the back. Who stayed in the back? I'm Jeffrey Lee, man. Y'all stay that left lane. See you.